Okay, started.
All right. Today is Monday, April 20th, 2020. This is the Kubernetes CSI implementation meeting. Um, let's see. So going over 118, I think we are pretty much done. All the CI jobs are in and the documentation has been updated. And the poll jobs are in as well. Um, there was one problem I found in the Snapshotter repo where it's actually not running any of the Kubernetes E2E tests at all. So I asked Grant to help take a look and debug the issues there. So I think Grant has a few PRs out that I will be taking a look at uh, today and tomorrow. Um, next up, we have 119, and the first thing coming up is Tuesday, May 5th, which is enhancements freeze. We need to get all the KEBs into implementable state and merged by May 5th. So that's about 2 weeks away. Um, Other than that, we can start populating the 119 board with all the work that we plan to do. And I think some of the work has already started. Um, so going down the list, we're trying to get all the sidecars to use the new V1 objects. This is important so that we can finally start adding uh, some tests to conformance. And one of the requirements for conformance is that you can't, none of the components and stuff can use V1 beta objects. So this will be an important piece to get us there. Um, let's see, the other thing that's going on is we're trying to move our image publishing from Travis over to the system that the Kubernetes project is supporting. I think I don't know if there's a name for it, but it's just a Kubernetes staging repository. So I think, Patrick, you've been sort of looking at this, is that right? Do you have a progress update?
Well, it's mostly at this time people from IBM who are publishing or suggesting changes. They also want to combine that with publishing images that are multi-architecture, which is for them, being from IBM, is an important feature, and it relies on experimental Docker, which kind of works in the Pro or in that cloud build environment, but not quite yet. I think there were some issues found. It's making progress, but it's not there yet.
Okay. Well, any step
Uh,
is a good step. So,
Yeah. The latest development from today was that there is apparently some access group that people have to be in before they can see log files from that cloud build environment. And none from SIG storage is currently in that. So I'm going to open a PR with SIG leads, tech leads, and myself for someone who has been looking at images recently, so that we can all check if something goes wrong in that part of a CI system. Because right now, I think we have to go through DIMS to get any kind of feedback of what went wrong. So that's probably coming today.
okay, sounds good. Awesome, thank you. Um, and also in other news, I have went ahead and disabled all the Travis poll jobs on our repos. Um, so any new PRs created should not run the Travis jobs. If there were any PRs, like old PRs that were sort of outstanding and are still there, I think I'm not sure what's going to happen with those Travis jobs, but they probably won't run anymore, and I don't know if the status will stay pending or something, but we might have to just force merge some of those PRs to if it's a problem. So just as a heads up. All right, and I think the rest of the items are just sort of tracking our feature progress. So I'm gonna skip Windows since Deep or Jing are not here. Next up, we have volume health.
Yeah, so one house that CSS back PRs merged. I think Nick can start working on it and using the master for now.
Okay.
Do we?
Awesome.
We don't have anything to do with the cap since that's already merged, right? So
Yeah.
we should do an update, but that's not really. We don't really have a deadline for that, right?
Yeah, we might just need to make sure if we want the release team to track this, then we need to give them a heads up.
Oh yes, we should. Right. I think right now they removed it. So okay, so we'll just ask them to add that back. Okay.
Yep. All right. And next up is snapshots.
Oh, snapshots. So have been reviewing Xiang Chen's PR. Yeah, I think that I just added a few more comments, but I think it's getting very close now. Now we're going to cut a release back for that change. So this testing thing, is there anything that we should backport, or it's okay just for those changes to be in the master?
I mean, it would be nice to get the testing changes in because basically like we're kind of flying blind right now in the snapshot repo because we're not actually running any E2E tests.
Okay.
So I think it would be good to get it in, which means we would have to update prow and backport those changes into the branches. But
okay,
yeah, I would say let's get it fixed and running in master first.
Okay.
And then we can consider backporting it.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Let's see. Next up, we have volume expansion. I think I've lost track of our meetings. Did we have a meeting about this last week?
Yeah, we had a meeting last week, and what we discussed was like for the the offline only expansion to like this week there's no meeting for I think CSI community thing, but if the like I think it might be next week. So I'll put it on agenda to relax the wording of the spec, and I don't know where it goes, but we'll have to. The agreement was that we'll relax the wording in the spec, and then we will do a best case check in the external resizer for 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 skipping the expansion if volume supports only offline. And the other thing is that for the recovery from resize failure, I was trying to talk to Jing because she was not in the last meeting and she was the one who had some concerns, and I hadn't been able to like get response. So I'll ping her again and open a enhancement. Enhancement is already open, but I'll just like clean it up. And
okay, sounds good. And for the CSI spec thing, is there an issue open already for this?
yes, there's an issue open already, and I think linked that issue in the issue that Zing opened.
Okay.
And one last item that maybe we can talk afterwards is like the read-only expansion problem, and I think that this is more like a Kubernetes problem rather than a CSI problem. Like the spec says that we'll expand read-only volumes too, but Kubernetes does not expand. because of like like it not being safe in certain environments, like how historically we have done things. One option I have been thinking, and we can talk this I'm planning to schedule a call this week as well, is to put this in CSI driver object. A driver can opt in for read-only expansion, but that's up to like our decision. It, yeah. I don't know what you guys think about it, because currently we don't expand read-only volumes like on Kubernetes, because it might break things. But the spec says yes, we should expand.
But so could do we pass in when we call expand? Do we pass in like read only or not?
The flag,
Like,
no,
can
we
a
don't.
plugin doesn't know if you ask them to expand the volume? Is it read only?
No, plugin doesn't know. We don't pass the value. No. So if we want to do that, that has to be, yeah, we can do that but we has to make a CSI spec change for that actually.
Did we not already make a spec change to pass in the capabilities? Oh,
Yeah,
but I
we did.
guess capabilities doesn't also include read only.
No, capabilities does not include read only, and we did not add read only flag when we make the capability changes, because the read only is tied to so many other things, and like we already have another read only issue. So I didn't want it to just hastily add a field in the spec and then later on maybe we don't want it. So I think there is one more item that we have to kind of agree on before this thing goes like, yeah, GA.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let's schedule a meeting for this week so that we have we can agree on something before the CSI spec meeting.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
All
What
right. Thank you.
do we have Thursday this 6 stories call? I think we do. So
Yes, we do.
okay, I'll find a time slot in. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Awesome. Let's see. I think that's mainly it for the stuff in progress. There have been a couple of some long-standing bugs that I've been sort of keeping track here. We should probably, I think a lot of these bugs are at least a year or so old, so we should probably start looking at these bugs and trying to make progress on it. I think one bug that is someone has reported is related to scaling. I believe we have narrowed down at least one scaling bottleneck. So I've asked someone on my team to try to take a look at this bug. I think this is mostly about changing the verified volumes function to use informers instead of making API calls. So that should reduce at least one bottleneck. There's a couple of issues that have been open around like node publish, handling and recovering from node publish and node stage and all the unpublished and other variations of that. We should probably try to find some time to take a look at it. I think half of these seem to be related to assuming having checks for if things are mount points and things. We can hopefully try to clean that up. I know Andy had a PR that we were trying to get in last release, but we decided it was too risky. So I can follow up with Andy to see if he can continue on that PR.
And there's one long-standing issue here is like that we create the volume directories when we instantiate the CSI mounter, and we don't get if like anything fails later on, like on device fails, something fails, then those directories are not cleaned up, and some issues are related to that. I think like the uncertain, I don't know why we instantiate a new mounter, like why we save the data file and directories in the new mounter rather than like when the mount is called or setup is called. So yeah, that is one long-standing issue I felt.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so I think the main thing is, while we're working on all these new features and stuff, we should also make some time to try to knock down some of these long-standing issues that have been around for a while too. So we'll try to balance that this cycle. So that's all I have for 119. Other miscellaneous topics. Last week I proposed that we clean up our top level folders or top level directory and move all the changelog files we have to a changelog folder. I actually noticed that this is what they're doing in master of Kubernetes now. So we can probably follow the same thing and clean that up. I will probably find some time this week to try to clean up the repos. I've also been playing around with the release notes tool and trying to make it easier from our side to update the release notes. So I already sent out a update to our documentation, release note process documentation with the new commands that are available. There is one more enhancement that I plan to make to the release notes tool itself to make our patch release process easier as well. So that'll be coming. So just be aware of that. Any other topics anyone wants to discuss? All right, then we'll end the meeting for today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.